Welcome to the Complete Story Series, where I take trade paperbacks and single issues and I break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then I read them dramatically back to you. So today we're going to be basically starting up the true Shattered Grid storyline. Now for those of you guys who don't know, we have a full story on the opening of the Power Rangers showing this version, this comic book world that was created. It has been fantastic. And in that storyline, they fought against an evil version of Tommy known as Lord Drakkon. At one point, after betraying the Power Rangers, he took the powers of the Green Dragon and the White Tiger and combined them to become the Black Dragon. It doesn't make sense why he wouldn't be like the White Dragon, but either way, it became the Black Dragon, truly evil. Well, this is the beginning of Shattered Grid, when Lord Drakkon is going to be destroying everything that we know. In our last video, Jason and the Rangers began to work with Grace and Promethea to finish off Finster and his rise of monsters that he strategically placed around the world. But as the two groups joined forces, Jason started to question the former Red Ranger's methods with how she would handle situations involving large groups of people. Worse yet, Billy learned that Grace had actually taken Drakkon prisoner and hadn't told anybody. After being captured and easily escaping the Pocket Dimension prison, Finster returned to the moon to continue to serve Rita in her quest to conquer Earth. But as he explains what he's been doing in her absence, she asks him if he placed the monsters throughout the entire world. Finster tells her, "It's slightly different than that. After you embarked on your journey to find the Wizard of Deception, I began practicing with human forms. These monsters would be triggered by a secondary mutation and..." Rita stops him asking, "How many are there?" Finster says, "Well, I released 14 of them, which 4 have already been revealed and destroyed. The reasoning behind this was..." But Rita stops him again, stating, "I need you to activate all of them, now!" Finster tries to explain that the value of these monsters come from their sudden and unexpected, and Rita stands up from her throne telling him, "I do not care what you perceive as their value. That is not your role in this." Finster sighs, stating, "Yes, my Empress." Back on Earth with the Promethea campus, Billy stands in awe at Drakkon's cell, and Drakkon asks, "Are you gonna do anything?" Billy stumbles over his words, stating, "I am." And Drakkon tells him, "You know very well who I am. Your team used the remains of the Black Dragon and its Chaos Crystal to open up a portal to my world. And when it closed, I was pulled through and found by these people." Billy says, "Wait, that's been months. They've been keeping you here this whole time?" And Drakkon says, "You're the math expert. You should know." After a few moments of silence, Drakkon smiles and he says, "You look a little bigger than last time. Have you been hitting the gym since our last encounter?" Billy tells him, "No, you're just trying to mess with my head." Just then, Billy's communicator goes off and Jason calls out that this just went insane. 10 monsters have been activated all at once. Billy looks back at Drakkon and Drakkon tells him, "Don't worry, I'm sure we'll be seeing each other again real soon." Billy then moves forward telling him, "I am not afraid of you." And Drakkon leans forward telling him, "Good." Once everyone gets ready, the Rangers along with Grace's mech start hitting all of the different locations where Finster's monsters have appeared. As the fights go on, the Rangers begin to notice something. These monsters aren't very powerful. Just as they're dispatched, some of the remaining monsters suddenly begin to fall to the ground, groaning in pain. Up on the moon, Rita watches, asking what is going on? Why are these monsters weakening? Finster tells her, well, it's because the creatures already grew. They're not structurally designed to withstand a second growth. Rita looks back, snapping, "Why didn't you say that before?" And Finster says, "You instructed me what my role was. I just took that as you knowing what was best." With the monsters in their weakened states, Jason gathers everyone to form the Megazord, and he quickly teleports between each location, taking down the monsters. As Grace returns to Promethea with her mech, she tells all of the engineers that the hydraulic is still lagging a bit. Also, make sure that they know how much power they are drawing on. They wouldn't want to go overboard on, but before she can finish, she sees Jason and the others standing there, waiting. A few moments later at Drakkon's cell, Drakkon sees Billy. "See? I told you we would see each other again." He shifts his gaze over to Tommy, asking, "They let you stick around?" Shouldn't be surprised. The Rangers did have a soft spot for weaklings. Tommy tells him that there's only one of them under lock and key. Then Drakkon smiles, asking, "Are you sure?" Jason looks at Grace, telling him, "We need to talk. Now." Over in another room, Jason shouts, asking, "When were you planning on telling me?" And Grace says, "Eventually, when the time was right." Jason turns back, "You know who he is, right?" Grace closes her eyes, stating that she knows exactly who he is and the people that he has killed. He's already planning on killing them all. Jason rubs his face, telling her, "You told me that I could trust you." And Grace says that she's done nothing here that was of a malicious intent. She was the one who reached out to them, remember? They were currently dealing with so many other things. All she is trying to do is make the helmet a little lighter. Jason turns away quietly, thinking to himself, and then he looks back, stating, "This isn't going to work. I can't imagine what you went through on the moon, and whatever's broken inside of you, I'm not gonna let it risk the lives of my team. Just then, Zack knocks on the window, holding up his communicator, and Zordon says that it perhaps would be best if all of them discuss this together. Jason sighs, stating, yeah. And then a second later, all of the Rangers teleport out. As everyone comes in, Tommy's the first to talk and says that they should take Drakkon themselves. They all know what he's capable of. Saba tells everyone that he agrees with Tommy, but if Rita learns that Drakkon is on their world, there's no telling what lengths she would go to get to him. Zordon says that Alpha, Saba, and himself have all weighed our operations and will proceed from there. In the meantime, perhaps it is best for everyone to take the evening off. You've all endured quite a bit these last few days. Zack says, that actually isn't a bad idea. As everyone leaves, Zordon says that he can see that he is troubled by Grace and what drives her. Would he care to discuss the matter? Jason tells him that he was right. The things that Grace wants to do would make for a very slippery slope if not handled correctly. But what gets him is that she never told them about Drakkon. He decided to trust her. Does this mean that his judgment is as clouded as hers? Zordon says, I understand the incredible pressure of leading the Power Rangers, but you also must respect the fortitude of someone who refuses to ever let go. Grace didn't fail back in 1969, I did. I was the one who sent her team unprepared. She had to live with the repercussions of that. If there's one thing that I can promise, it's that I will experience what it's like to make the wrong decision for the right reasons. Grace's words before hold some truth. We must realize that there are some things out of our hands and that we cannot control everything. A short while later at Drakkon's cell, he waits and then says, so you have come to this world too. That is surprising. Saba appears before Drakkon, telling him, I'm just as surprised to see you here. I have seen firsthand what you're capable of. The others have not lived through your actions the way that I have. I will not stand idly by. Drakkon asks, what is it that you come for then? And then Saba's eyes begin to glow red. Saba begins to release a narrow laser, shooting and hitting Drakkon in the face, cutting the cables, giving power to the restraints. He then fires again, but Drakkon throws off one of his cuffs and uses the other to deflect the second attack. As Drakkon lunges forward, Saba hits him again, but then Drakkon tells him, you miscalculated. It is not I who will be ending. Drakkon then grabs the end of the saber and rips Saba's head off, throwing it to the ground. With no response from Saba, Drakkon takes the saber, drawing a circle stating, Into Desperilio, and then whispers something to Saba's head. A white line shines as a portal opens, and Drakkon escapes through it. In another time, the Time Force Power Rangers locate a fracture in time, and they see that this occurrence is not limited to just their timeline. As they get closer to the fissure to try and stabilize it, there's a loud fracoom as that split gets bigger and something shoots out. The impact of the blast launches 3 of the Rangers out of their Zords, and they are instantly disintegrated by the tear. The Red Ranger Wes calls out to his teammates, and the Pink Ranger Jen yells that the fracture is growing. She says that if they don't stop this, it's going to overtake everything. Whatever this is, it's deeply rooted in the past. Wes tells her that they will get the Megazord close enough to try and close it. He'll buy her as much time as he can to make sure that she can stop this. For everyone. She tries to figure another way, but Wes shouts for her to go. As she ejects, she looks back and she sees the Megazord being torn apart. She radios back to Wes, asking if he can hear her. But as the last pieces of the Megazord fade into the light, a giant figure appears and reaches out. Jen hits the thrusters on her jetpack and activates the chronal transition. And just as the hand reaches her, she disappears. Back in the current time, everyone watches the video feed of Drakkon's escape, and Tommy asks, what did he say? Grace looks at the log, stating that the technicians are still trying to figure that out, but the audio wasn't the best. Jason tells her, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna need a copy of everything. Grace then says whatever Promethea can do to help, and Jason cuts her off, telling her no. You took Drakkon prisoner, and you kept him from us. On top of that, you let him escape. Grace tells him that she's sorry that they weren't better prepared for the teleporting saber. And Jason tells her, exactly. If you would have been honest from the beginning, we could have avoided all of this. She folds her arms and says that there's one more thing. Before Drakkon left, he took something with him. And another time, Drakkon cuts through a spirit, and Ninjora tells him impressive. No one has ever completed the trial so quickly. Drakkon then stands back up and says, it's because there's no one like me. Ninjora asks, do we know each other from the future? And Drakkon tells him, not only no, but we're friends. In the future, you're instrumental in giving me my powers and making Saba. Drakkon reaches into his bag and he takes out his morpher and his power coin, stating that there's been a great war brewing and he is the only one who has ever truly mastered the power coins. So please, for the greater good, make me whole again. Back in the current time at the command center, Kim asks why would Saba go after Drakkon in the first place, and Zordon says that he cannot say for sure. But it would seem that he chose to spare them from making a hard decision and eliminate Drakkon before he could pose any more threat. Jason looks at Trini and says, we still have all of the Black Dragon parts. And Trini says that they're pretty fried after opening up the portal the first time, but they do still have them. Jason tells her, good. We should try and figure out a way to get the green chaos crystal working so that we can reach out to the coinless and warn them. Tommy then says that they should probably tighten security here just in case, and Billy asks, can we add a secondary defense shield specifically for Drakkon's energy signature? Zordon says, that would be a wise course of action, but it would take some time to prepare. Jason looks back at everyone, telling them, you all have things that need to be done, but we need to wait. Everyone is going to keep their communicators close. Back in another timeline, Ninja reconstructs the Morpher, stating that whatever the device that was used to disable his powers did so by corrupting large sections of the energy signature. It will take some time, but after reshaping the signature, it should work, which also isn't a bad thing considering the powers here were forced together. Drakkon tells him that his future self made it in a last-ditch effort. There was a war, and I needed additional firepower. Ninjar asks, did we win the war? And Drakkon says, so far, yeah. After Ninjor is done, he hands Drakkon his Morpher and he asks, why not give it a try? Drakkon then holds out his Morpher and shouts, Black Dragon! In a flash, Drakkon's armor appears around him. He falls to his knees, stating, it feels weaker than before. Ninjor tells him it will pass with time. A room has been prepared in the temple. Drakkon stops him and stands up, telling him, that won't be necessary. You were always a fool. However, your story isn't ending here, Ninjor. Back at the current time, Billy and Trini look over at the Black Dragon equipment, trying to figure out what they can do with it, but they both come up with nothing. Billy sighs, stating that he just can't get anything out of this crystal, and Trini tells him, how about they take a short break and get some coffee? Coffee fixes everything. As the two of them walk away from the shadows, Drakkon walks out and smiles as he picks up the green chaos crystal. Meanwhile, in the city, Kim and Tommy leave the theater, and Kim laughs, stating that it's kind of nice to see other people save the world for once. The two laugh as they walk down the street, and Kim says that she knows it's a little weird, but have fun with everything that's going on. But if we're going to beat him, whatever game he's trying to play, they're going to win. And Tommy smiles, telling her, yeah, I believe that too. As the two reach the corner, Kim tells Tommy that she's had fun. It was a good first date for sure. Tommy leads in for a kiss, and Kim says she wants to take things slow, if he's cool with that. Tommy nervously backs away, stating, totally! Maybe, we should do this again. And Kim tells him, definitely. Talk to you tomorrow. As she walks away, she tells herself that was stupid. She should have kissed him. She wanted to kiss him. But after thinking about it and deciding that she should kiss him, she turns back and she calls out to Tommy. However, when Tommy hears his name being called, it's not from Kim. He turns around to see it's Drakkon, and he stabs Tommy in the back. Drakkon holds out the green chaos crystal, stating that it's so much more effective to just supercharge this thing at the source. Now do you see? It's like I said, when it matters most, your friends will not be there for you, Tommy. Kim turns to the corner, screaming out for Tommy, suiting up, firing arrows to push Drakkon away. And as Drakkon turns back, charging at her with his saber raised, he says, you have no idea the mistake that you just. But before he could finish, there's a pink explosion, and the Power Ranger from the Time Force, Jen, appears shooting at Drakkon. Kim asks who, but Jen shouts, there's no time, start firing! As they begin to push Drakkon back, Drakkon turns, holding out the Chaos Crystal, stating, home! The portal begins to open up, and Jen then asks, where could he have? And Kim shouts, it doesn't matter right now, Tommy needs our help! She lifts Tommy's head, and he tells her, it's gonna be okay. And as he closes his eyes, his breath gets weaker. Kim screams for him to stay with them, but then she doesn't feel a pulse. She looks back at Jen, telling her to do something, and Jen tells her, it's too late. He's gone. Kim shouts into her communicator, yelling for help! And she looks back at Tommy, stating, please, don't be gone! And there you have it, the first of many cliffhangers in our Shattered Grid storyline. Now don't forget to subscribe right here at Comicstorian if you want to know what's going to happen next in the storyline and you don't go buy it. You can go buy it, I'll give you the link down below. But next Sunday we'll be bringing you the next 2 issues. We're planning on spreading this out over the course of a month. So make sure you subscribe to get more Power Ranger Shattered Grid.